Let's raise the big questions then tonight. Is impeachment the best and only option in the circumstances? Should there be a complete police investigation against the judge? What is the ideal way to probe our judges? Joining me now, two very special guests. Justice Sanjib Banerjee, retired former Chief Justice of the High Courts of Madras and Meghalaya, and Indrajit Singh, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, former Additional Solicitor General, and someone who through a long and distinguished career has taken on the judiciary and judicial corruption in particular. I want to come to you, Indrajit Singh, first. As those details are coming off that three-judge probe report, sources to India today saying that the judge clearly is in the dock. How do you think the government should respond? Is impeachment now the only option if the judge decides to stick to his chair?
Impeachment is certainly a desirable option. I would say it's an unavoidable option. But Rajdeep, I must say that I'm a little disappointed that the full text of the report has not been made public, neither by the Chief Justice of India, the then Chief Justice, nor by the current Chief Justice. And petitions which went to court under RTI asking for a release of the report have been rejected by the court. So I don't understand this mix of transparency with non-transparency. But coming to your question, yes, impeachment is inevitable and it is the only solution for removal. I heard you talk about a police complaint. Yes, a police complaint is possible, but it will not result in removal. At best, it will result in pending the investigation, non-assignment of work, but he's already not being assigned work.
So let me get this right. You're saying you would like this three-judge bench report, which a Supreme Court appointed committee report, to be made public? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying exactly that. I'm saying it has not been made available till today, even to the MPs. Let's get one thing very clear, Rajdeep. It is not the government that impeaches or removes. It is the members of parliament. This report should be the property of the House. It should be the property of members of parliament because they will now have to sign on to a motion for his removal. The government does not sign on to a motion for removal. Remember, if the government were to sign on to a motion for removal, it would be a very dangerous political precedent, okay? They could then remove anybody they want to remove. No, it is the House. It is the privilege of the House to move an impeachment motion which gets admitted. And so at the very least, I would expect this report to be tabled in the House or be made individually available to every member of parliament. But apart from that, Rajdeep, you did mention that I've been pursuing the issue of judicial accountability for several years. I, as a member of the legal profession, I, as a member of the public, I have a right to read this report regardless of the outcome of these proceedings.
Do you agree with that, Justice Sanjib Banerjee, in the first instance, that if this report is out there, if this report has indicted Justice Verma, as sources are now telling us, do you believe this report must be out in the public domain, or would that be would that in some way be unfair against the judge? Or should there be a police investigation? How do you believe this should now proceed?
That report should be made public immediately. It's an investigation which had been ordered by the Chief Justice of India. That part of it was made public. The previous reports of the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court were partially kind of disclosed. This report should be made public. Everyone should know so that, particularly the MPs, they can take a call on whether or not to sign on this issue once it reaches the parliament.
So are you saying that the logical solution to Justice Verma, who at the moment is claiming innocence, is therefore only impeachment now? Do you believe that there is any other way in which this can be resolved, given that in 75 years we've never had really a successful impeachment?
Well, there was one case where, it was passed by one of the houses and the judge resigned. And
that's right. Justice Sumitra Sen was passed by the Rajya Sabha.
Yes.
And he quit days before the Lok Sabha was to take up the motion.
Exactly. And there was similar conspiracy theory propounded by him also. But of course, in this case, there will be a further investigation by the in terms of the parliamentary procedure for impeachment, and that will also look into his allegations. You can't just throw up your hands and say that there was a conspiracy unless there's some particulars. From what I believe from your access to the report is that the committee members concluded that no one other than family members had access to the place concerned. And therefore,
Yeah.
that is quite a damning fact. And it calls for an answer. And if there is no answer, the obvious inference has to be drawn.
Should there be a police investigation as well, Justice Banerjee, if this was an ordinary citizen in whose house
Not at the
cash
moment.
was found in large amounts? The first
and
thing would be a police investigation.
First and foremost, there should be this process of impeachment, and after that, there could be a police investigation. There's no problem. But first and foremost, we should, and I'm not saying, I don't know whether he's one of the rotten apples, but first and foremost, we should get rid of some of the rotten apples from the judiciary.
If this is the report, should the judge be resigning before the impeachment motion, in your view, as I said, happened with Justice Sumitro Sen, who resigned before the Lok Sabha was to take up a motion? Or do you believe the judge has every right to defend himself, as Justice Ramaswamy attempted in 1993 when there was an impeachment motion against him?
If the judge is convinced that he did not do it, he has a right to defend himself. And we do not know what is the truth. Sometimes these reports don't throw up what is the truth. But, the impeachment is the logical process, and he has a right to defend himself. Whether he takes a call on resigning is completely personal, and I am nobody to advise him. But yes, this is a serious issue, and this is, indicative of a malaise. I'm not for once holding this judge responsible or saying that he is wrong or that the cash was his, but it's indicative of a malaise which has to be tended to.
Do you believe, Indrajit Singh, therefore impeachment is a way of sending out a strong signal to other judges who may allegedly be also rotten apples? We're not yet pronouncing on the guilt of Justice Verma, but do you believe that impeachment is the ideal way to probe judges?
See, Rajdeep, first and foremost, there has to be a proper fact finding. And the only way that you can have a proper fact finding is by impeachment. Okay? This 3-judge committee did not have access to a lot of material, and they have just come to their own prima facie conclusion. See, in Ramaswamy's case, although he was not impeached because, mind you, the Congress abstained from voting on the motion for no other reason. But there was a proper fact finding where he was found guilty of misconduct and corruption. You must understand these fact finding reports have a value of their own. And as Justice Banerjee pointed out, once there's a fact finding report, a prosecution can follow. Today, he has immunity from prosecution because he's a sitting judge, unless the Chief Justice of India gives permission to prosecute. So the first step is fact finding. And that fact finding happens inside Parliament, not outside Parliament. So I repeat, see, Rajdeep, what we have to understand is what for is this whole process being gone through? Because judges are meant to serve the public. Okay, who are they? Who are these judges? They're supposed to do justice to whom? To people like you and me. And if there is even the slightest suspicion that a judge is corrupt, it's like a slur on the judiciary as a whole. Now, the Supreme Court has also tried to deal with this issue by simply transferring judges. It doesn't work. It has not worked. And therefore, I think it's really time that this impeachment is taken seriously.
Yes, no, but the fact, Indrajit Singh, precisely stemming from what you said, there are those who say, why conduct this in-house inquiry in an opaque manner? Now, you've had this 3-judge bench. As you said, their report is not out in the public domain. Should there have been also a simultaneous police investigation? Some of these facts will be required to only be ascertained by a proper criminal investigation. Given the nature of the charges, cash is found in the house in these large vats. Can judges and in-house committee really be the fact-finding appropriate forum, or should it have been done by, dare I say, a proper police investigation?
The Rajdeep, Parliament consists of the House of People and the Rajya Sabha. Obviously, these are our representatives, okay? Representatives of we, the people of India, okay? So let me tell you, the impeachment proceedings happen in public, okay? The proceedings of the House are open to everybody. And everybody in the country has a right to know what's going on in the impeachment proceedings. Therefore, I consider it an appropriate forum in which these issues are debated. It's a different matter that Justice Ramaswamy boycotted the proceedings. I'm hoping that Justice Verma does not boycott these proceedings so that we get an opportunity to hear both sides of the matter. There is no burden.
No, but don't you need a police investigation to trace the source of the cash?
You do need it. But as Justice Banerjee pointed out, let's have the impeachment report to begin with. It is not a closed question whether he'll be prosecuted. Today, he is refusing to resign because he has immunity as a sitting judge. If he had resigned, there would have been a police case on the next date. Okay? So removal is really a precondition to his being prosecuted, so to say, failing which the Chief Justice of India will have to give permission to prosecute, which they have not given so far. They've opted for this process of impeachment, rather suggested it. No one can impeach. It's only the MPs who can take this decision. That also you must be very clear. Your viewers and your listeners must be very clear. No government can be given this power, because if the government is given the power, they can remove anybody they want to remove. No, it is in the hands of the MPs. The report is the property of the MPs. A copy should be given to each and every single one of the MPs, which has not been done. And I'm surprised at that.
I want to ask, therefore, both of you in conclusion, starting with you, Justice Banerjee, first. Will this be a deterrent? That's the big question. Lots of people out there will be asking, will this be a deterrent? Surely there's not corruption. Many believe exists in our judiciary at different levels. Will this case become a deterrent in your view if impeachment follows?
It will be somewhat of a deterrent, but I want a better system in place. We've got to devise a better system where something short of impeachment would also be available, because this impeachment sometimes becomes a political process, and it's not always where the result of the investigation or the culpability of the person concerned weighs in the ultimate consideration. So there should be something else, also a mechanism put in place, and all of this can be addressed together, together with the fine-tuning the appointments and elevation issue.
Indrajit Singh, will this be a deterrent if this impeachment does actually go ahead in the next few weeks, months?
Rajdeep, I believe that the level of impunity of judges has reached such a high level that it may not be a deterrent. Secondly, I want to ask the question, why is the fountain of justice polluted at its source? By which I mean, why is there no better screening at the stage of appointment? So I agree with the learned judge, Justice Banerjee, who just said it's the entire system which needs a complete overhaul. The UPA government did introduce a judicial accountability and standards bill. For some unknown reason, that bill was withdrawn. I do agree with the learned judge that there needs to be an intermediate system between impeachment and ultimate removal, or even to work as a deterrent. Today, where are the standards of conduct? We don't have standards of conduct. Look at the way the profession and the judiciary is behaving. It's like party after party. I don't know what to tell you, Rajdeep. I really don't know what to say. The kind of socializing that exists. And by the way, don't have a copy of the report, but I have reason to believe that not only is the judge indicted, there are certain other legal professionals also who are likely to be involved in this whole issue.
Right.
So it's The system really it requires, as the learned judge says, a huge amount of change if it is going to serve the public.
You know, that it really is it. Will the chickens now come home to roost? Will all the skeletons come tumbling out of the cupboard? Should an impeachment be followed by a proper police investigation? Judges surely are not above the law, and the judiciary needs far greater accountability is the message that's coming out. Indrajit Singh and Justice Banerjee for joining me on my top talking point. I appreciate both of you speaking so plainly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.